Welcome to day 7 of this 21-day brand communications course. We have covered a lot this week. We looked at your North Star, the guiding principles for your brand. Also, your audience reality. Do you really know who's listening, who's watching, who's paying attention to you? We looked at your brand voice, the boundaries, the kind of rules, implicit and explicit rules that you have of engagement with different audiences and stakeholders. We looked at different touch points for your brand, communications touch points, and then stakeholders. A lot of pieces, but today let's see how they fit together. Let's integrate a little bit. I'm a fan of integrated thinking, holistic thinking. Welcome. This is really awesome that you've made it to day 7 of this 21-day course. This is where we really get things to click. We get this sort of framework within our minds. And if you would like more on my 7 strategic zones, I have separate playlists for each of them. I used my 7 strategic zones as sort of lens to look at any sort of brand dilemmas, communications, reputation management dilemmas. So if you're new and I'm new to you and you're new to me, I am Serena. This is Serena's Playbook. This is a place to level up your strategic thinking as a student, perhaps a media student, somebody within communications. If you have a brand and you're an entrepreneur, you're building a brand for your sort of creator journey, these are things that it's really helpful to keep in mind. A lot of us are doing brand communications without knowing that we're doing brand communication. So if you can begin to identify these key areas of brand communications, then you can actually say, oh, okay, I do that. This is how I could improve, or I do that. Let's optimize it. Let's make it more meaningful, and let's make this journey much more effective. So here's what you've built so far in your week 1, if you like. It's 3 weeks, it's 21 days. I love 21, 12, 21. Anyway, it's been 7 days. So here's what you've built so far. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do. Your North Star. This is the thing that you absolutely will not compromise. Your brand value, the core value, not the values, not plural, value, the guiding principle. You've also built your awareness around your actual audience, not the one that you imagine. Sometimes when we're speaking to an ideal sort of audience avatar, but actually it's not who we actually have following us and checking on us and our brand. We've also built your voice, your tone, how you sound consistently, and what you allow to adapt given the scenario, the platform, the situation. Your boundaries. We looked at your boundaries, what you will and what you won't share. In whatever scenario, what's sensible to keep to yourself. We talked a little bit about authenticity and being strategic in what you share. It's really important that you don't overburden your audience with information that's probably not going to help them. Do they learn from it? Do they get to sort of improve their journey, or is it something that's more self-serving? You've got to watch that. We looked at your ecosystem, all the places that your brand shows up, and then your stakeholders. Who influences uh, whether people trust you? There's different players in the game, platform policies, your brand partners, sponsors. None of these 6 live in isolation. There's more to come. There's 21 days, but none of these live in isolation. They work together, they overlap, they interlink, there's interdependencies. You can never get the formula absolutely right. It's like a living organism. But by being aware of it, you stand out as being much more stronger, refined, thoughtful, intentional, strategic with your brand communications. But none of these live in isolation. They're supposed to work together. And when they don't, that's when people can tell. That's where your communications break down. That's when you address a crisis completely incorrectly. You don't do the best by your brand. And here's an example when I had a personal moment that really worked for me, where the pieces really connected. I was publishing daily and weekly content to my media politics commentary channel. And then I was wanting to also provide educational content for an audience that was sort of also interested in media and politics, but not really. What was it? Do they want to know more about media politics? What is their story? Like, what do they find valuable? I have to say, I only sort of realized the Serena's playbook um, framework, if you like, the offering through trial and error until I knew enough to continue to pursue. You get to a point where you realize, okay, I know enough. Now let's go. And then you have to reflect and you have got to tweak it a little bit more and then you continue going. It's this kind of iteration that's involved. And the pieces came together as I continued my studies with my postgrad in systems thinking, as I continued my practitioner work as a communication strategist, as a public relations practitioner, as I continued to level up my practice as a chartered practitioner. So all of these things continue to happen in parallel. And then I thought, oh, yes, okay, this makes sense. The pieces are coming together. But it never happens in the most perfect way. You have to allow it to sort of unfold and come together and kind of gel together. And everyone's process is different. However, the science bit, the bit that you need to sort of still do, like we all need to sort of uniformly do, is look at these key areas in order to sort of figure out and identify what's actually working. So your North Star is the center. We know this now, and everything radiates from it. Your audience reality check. Are you reaching people who care about your North Star? Are they aware of your North Star? And if not, you're either talking to the wrong people or perhaps you're unclear about your principle, the guiding principle. Your voice and tone. Does how you sound reflect what you stand for? If your North Star is transparency, if that's your thing, but you sound corporate and defensive, there's a disconnect. If your North Star is being educational, that's too broad. If your North Star is being creative, but your communications is very rigid, it's not sort of curious, it's not open, it's not suggestive, it's not uh, exciting, then yeah, there's a disconnect. Boundaries, do they protect your North Star or just you as a creator and your comfort zone? Communications boundaries, knowing when and when not to communicate with different parties, it serves your brand, it serves your mission. It's not just about making things easier for you as the entrepreneur, as the creator. Having an ecosystem, all of your touch points, delivering on your North Star promise is key. However, is there is there any fracture between your, let's say, polished content and any sort of messy execution? You know how sometimes you've got people and creators and entrepreneurs creating content that is very thoughtful, very intentional, and it's polished and it's edited, and then they've got some real raw behind the scenes stuff, but it's done in a sort of it's not executed well. It just doesn't match. It's, you've got to do that no makeup thing, right? So you're giving the impression it's behind the scenes, but you're not really a behind the scenes kind of creator. It's all very polished. You see, that's what I was trying to get at. That's when there's also a disconnect and it just doesn't quite match up. You've got to think about your stakeholders. Who's influencing whether people believe in you? So, who are the people talking about you who are really pivotal to your brand? Who are your advocates? We've explored that, and perhaps Are you ignoring the people who actually shape your reputation? When these align, let's look at the integration. When these align, communications gets easier. You're not guessing anymore. You can anticipate, and you have a framework. I love it when you have a framework, because then you can be much more prepared. You can be much more prepared. When they don't align, that's when there can be a bit of a fallout. It's when you aren't able to adjust or be agile in moments of crisis. And perhaps it's when you find out from third parties, from others, from your audience that, okay, I need to pivot, I need to change. And you've got to review and revise everything. That's when, oh, goodness me, that's when you're putting out fires. That's when you're doing damage control. So pulling everything into one place, okay, as a step when you are consolidating your thoughts, your notes. It doesn't have to be super formal. Sometimes I think whiteboarding it, putting it on a whiteboard helps. You can just have a sentence for your North Star. You can have some audience data. You can put a few bullet points to demonstrate, to explain, to reflect what your um, consistent voice is. You can also have a list of what your boundaries are, the things that you absolutely will always observe. You can have a communications touch point map, and you can have a stakeholder web. These are sort of different zones that you can have on a one pager on your whiteboard. And so from time to time, I mean, do you talk to yourself? I do. Do you talk to yourself or to your screen or to your notebook or to your whiteboard? Talk something through, not just talking to yourself, but talking it through out loud, and saying to yourself or perhaps to somebody, this is my brand. My brand exists for this. This is the North Star. Just revisit day one. My brand exists to, I'm actually reaching, that's your audience. I sound like, that's your voice. And I shift my tone for different contexts, right? And you could list the context. Sometimes it's Instagram Live, other times it's a formal newsletter. I won't share, this is your boundaries, but I will share any areas that you think are strategically appropriate. You can list your touch points. My touch points are, and you can have your ecosystem description, but my weak point is it Substack? Is it X? The people who influence my reputation are these three key stakeholders, but there's a few that perhaps I'm missing. Does that sound coherent? Are you able to mentally, just hearing this off the top, perhaps you haven't uh been around for day 1 to day 6, and now you're on day 7, you're hearing this for the first time. As I'm saying all of this, are there thoughts in your mind that you're thinking, "Oh, yeah, I think I could do this just off the top of my head." And that's cool too, because you're very close to your work or the client's work. You're very in it. But there's always, remember, we've got to think about sort of any areas, any gaps that we're missing. Where is the biggest gap? Does your North Star match your actual audience? Does your voice reflect your values? Is there sort of a glaring weak link in your ecosystem? Are there any stakeholders that you're ignoring that could matter? And then you've got to name it. And you've got to make this actionable as well. So here's some sort of questions. What's one adjustment that can bring things into alignment? This is day 7. We've got more days to go, but subscribe if you haven't already. What's one adjustment that brings things into alignment? You don't have to do a full overhaul. It's one concrete move. And then test it. Test it for this week. See if it improves the clarity, see if it improves the trust with your audience and your stakeholders, and see if it improves your engagement. Dive into your metrics. So, week 1 definitely wasn't just about tactics, it was about being honest with yourself, learning what you actually stand for, who's actually listening to you, how you show up and where you show up and where the gaps are. The honesty is the foundation for everything. And when I say that, it's honesty with yourself. It's not about being transparent and completely open and revealing all to your audience. It's being honest with yourself. Week 2 starts day 8. We're getting into systems. We're going to look at platforms. We're going to look at the attention economy. We're going to look at engagement and how we can build lasting engagement. It's still something that I'm learning. Remember, I'm not a creator currently with hundreds and thousands of subs, but I have been in the communications game and worked for brands who do have those. But none of that matters unless you're in the arena doing the work. Because sometimes when you're doing it for somebody else, it's different. It's different. It hits different when it's you doing it for yourself. So let's do this foundational work together. I will see you for the very next day, which is day 8. You've been wonderful. Stick through. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so and let me know in the comments how it's going. And yeah, I'll see you day 8.